Begin in Osun State, where property worth hundreds of millions of naira have been lost to a fire incident that destroyed two buildings in Osogbo, including a furniture and electronics showroom. The fire, which broke out at 1 a.m. on Thursday, caused heavy traffic along Lekki area in Osogbo for several hours. TVC News correspondent Ahmed reports.
It's an incident that started at 1 a.m. According to findings, it started from one of these buildings and later spread to the adjoining one. Furnitures, electronics, and other valuables were said to have been lost to the incident.
The content in the building is not so easy that it can easily go off like that. The more you put water, when you leave, before you come back, it's already in flame again. We have foams, cutting materials, and clothing, so it's not easy.
It takes combined efforts of the Federal Fire Service and the State Fire Service to contain the fire. They were said to have arrived about an hour after the incident was reported to them. They came with enough fire engines.
Immediately. But actually, we could not even, as I'm talking to you now, we are still working. The fire is still on. At this moment, we cannot ascertain the cause of the fire. But after the fire has been put off, probably I would advise to come down to our office.
When you look at the way the two buildings were constructed, we only have access to that building through only one channel. And whereas the buildings are mighty, the fire is going behind certain buildings. So we don't have any option than to continue to fight the fire from the front. If we have enough access, while we are fighting in the front, we can channel our energy towards the back as well, the other side, but we don't have that opportunity.
Chairman of Osogbo local government speaks on efforts made to ensure the fire is put out.
On getting here, we see that the fire has already spread. And we want to use this medium to commend the Fire Service Department. The Fire Service Department have really done a very good job in collaboration with the state and the Federal Fire Service Department.
As at the time of filing this report, the cause of the incident is yet to be ascertained. The incident caused heavy traffic as hundreds of people parked their vehicles on the roadside to sympathize with the victims. Meanwhile, the state government at Gaitola has commiserated with the victims of the incidents. As you can see from the background, officials of the Federal Fire Service as well as the State Fire Service are still battling to put out the fire to ensure it doesn't spread to other buildings. Operatives of other security agencies are also here complementing their efforts by maintaining law and order as well as traffic. No casualty was recorded. Ahmed, TVC News, Osogbo.
Away from that, construction work on the biggest seaport in Nigeria has been completed, and that's Lekki Deep Seaport, signaling a major step toward the country breaking through a bottleneck in international trade and achieving accelerated economic growth. Speaking of these, Executive Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, says the seaport will directly benefit local communities by creating nearly 100,000 jobs for locals and generating enormous revenue in the coming decades. Currently, Nigeria relies on two overcrowded ports whose shallow waters are unable to dock larger vessels, greatly restricting the scale of imports and exports. So coverage on the ravaging flood in some parts of the country, the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola, Tinubu, has donated 50 million naira to flood victims in Delta State. This is to ameliorate the suffering of many displaced and living in camps across the state. Making the donation on his behalf, Deputy President of the Senate and Delta State governorship candidate Ovie Omagige also gave food items and relief materials worth 150 million naira. Ikenna Mechi reports on this.
Thousands of people converged on Osubi airstrip to receive Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was due to visit some internally displaced persons camps. But after waiting for hours, they received news that the presidential candidate will not be coming as planned. Rather, the Deputy President of the Senate and Delta State APC governorship candidate, Ovie Omagige, represented him.
That because of the strike in the aviation sector, we are not able to get any of those helicopters to freight him, to move him from here to those IDP camps. So we have decided to reschedule this visit.
The crowd accompanied Oviomo Agege to the IDP camp in Okwagwe, in Ugele South Council area, which is now home to hundreds of flood victims.
So he has sent me here to announce to the people of Okwagwe and indeed the people of Delta State that he is donating the sum of 50 million naira to the whole of Delta State. I have also decided to donate relief materials in terms of food, rice, gari, yam, mattresses, zinc, cement, indomie, etc. All of them worth 150 million naira.
At the IGP camp in Otagbogbe Technical College, Kwale, the deputy governorship candidate of the APC in Delta State, shared the good news.
That he don't release the sum of 50 million.
Though Oviomo Agege and his entourage used the opportunity to campaign for the APC presidential candidate, the funds and the relief items are meant for everyone across all holding centers in the state.
So these relief materials will be distributed to every IDP camp.
We all know Jagaban, you understand? We know his track record. So we're here to support the APC.
Tinubu has not been president yet. He's giving relief material worth 50 million to Delta. Not just only Delta, it's giving to other states.
With the flood waters receding gradually, the next phase will be the resettlement of these people to enable them return to their normal lives. Ikenna Amechi, TVC News, Okwagwe, Delta State.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Farouk, has revealed that Bayelsa State is not among the top 10 most affected states by the recent floods. This is according to assessment carried out so far by the ministry. The minister made his statement in reaction to claims made by elder statesman and leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, Chief Edwin Clark, who implored the federal government to act swiftly to save flood victims in the Niger Delta. The ministry added that the criteria used to arrive at the conclusion are based on the number of indices, the number of deaths recorded and displaced persons per state, number of injuries, houses totally damaged, farmlands partially and totally damaged, amongst others. The Bank of England says the country's economy shrunk in the third quarter and entered a technical recession forecast to last until the first half of 2024. The bank, in one of the minutes of its meeting, warned of a challenging outlook for the UK economy that was expected to be in recession for a prolonged period. The pound tumbled 2% against the dollar on expectations of a long-lasting recession. It said British inflation would peak at 10.9% this year, but with the level so high, analysts said the central bank rate could hit as high as 5% in the coming months. The Bank of England announced its biggest interest rate hike since 1989 to combat sky-high inflation that it warned was pushing Britain into a recession set to last until mid-2024.